That's going to be an interesting one. I believe this draft from Adroit is shaping up quite nicely. You've got the Venge, the Drow, and the Lina, so you have a lot benefiting from that Venge straight up. You have the Undying to buy you some space in the early game, and that is pretty potent. Geek Fam, with the Ogre Magi pickup, it's fairly straightforward, right? You've got a really great right click here in the Razor. He can just run down lanes and farm creep waves quite well. The Ogre Magi is going to allow him to do that much more effectively. You don't have anything to naturally link up to, nothing like a Life Stealer or a Jug or a Slark to just keep yourself close to, so the value from keeping an enemy core down isn't quite there. I mean, the Drow is a right click here. Of course, you're going to want to try to static link her up, but she can kind of kite you around with Gust and with her Frost Arrows, so we'll see how well that goes.
Well, fourth pick for Geek Fam. They're thinking about it quite heavily. Well, they're still yet to pick up 2 more cores for themselves. Of course, with the Razor, you can pretty much put the Razor in any lane. So it is quite versatile, but they're going to go after the Venomancer, which we've been seeing pop out very, very often. Surprisingly not banned. And, well, we saw Cuckoo before on this Veno. He didn't go for that jungle style build. He rather just went to the off lane and played it in lane. And it did end up working out for them quite well. So why the hell not go back to it?
Yeah, definitely so. I don't see any major issues with this one. Again, just based on how Geek Fam ran it last time, does look like they have a certain way of playing it, which is a bit different from everyone else. Everyone else just tends to try to jungle up, get an early item going, and try to build off from there. Geek Fam tends to be just a bit more aggressive with that one. They tend to go for the QW build, much more the Gale build over the Wards build. So you have a lot more laning presence coming out there with the heroes they have so far. That is going to apply a lot of pressure in these lanes. The Razor is already just really great. He has really great presence in the lane. The Ogre Magi as well. So you can see Geek Fam really trying to get that early momentum their way. Adroit kind of has that going for themselves as well, just with the Undying. That's enough to make me say that they want their laning phase to at least go fairly smooth, and they kind of do just want to secure themselves a good start.
Well, there's a Sven ban coming out from Adroit. So we saw the Sven once today. Really wasn't doing too well. They'll still ban it out anyway. They don't want to have to deal with it. Fair enough. Geek Fam, final ban for them. Still 1 minute of reserve time left if they wish to use it. What are we playing at here? Adroit, it does seem like they're just looking for an off lane. Unless you're putting the Venge off and you're going to go for another mid, run the Lina support. Could also be viable.
Something, I suppose. We'll see how exactly they do close out, but you already have a pretty solid lineup from Adroit. Like, either way they run it, I think it's going to be pretty solid. Although I think you'd want to be a bit traditional, put the Drow down safe and the Lina down mid. I think that's still the best outcome here for Adroit, but they still have a little bit of flex here.
My concern for Adroit, though, they are very squishy. Like, apart from the Undying, oh my. Well, that was kind of what I was worried about, John. Like a Chaos Knight, just going to Reality Rift it. Oh, not Reality Rift. Or is it Reality Rift? No. The Rift. Is the Chaos Rift is what I'm talking about. We've casted too much RR. The Rift from Chaos Knight, going to be able to close the gap on this Drow and basically just burst her in one hit, is somewhat concerning for Adroit. I don't see any counters toward the CK as of yet either. It's going to be very dangerous for this Radiant side.
Yeah, definitely is. I like that last pick from Geek Fam. A lot of value there, and Mike, it is Reality Rift.
Wow.
Name. So yeah, I remember a time we were casting Reality Rift, and they were playing against a CK or they had a CK, and it sounded like we were saying the same thing over and over again because, well, you know, it was the same damn name. Adroit, they close out with Sand King. That does give them some way of dealing with the Chaos Knight. I have to say it's not the smoothest way of handling that, but is going to be balking at here, and you know he has done some good work on that Sand King. We've seen it before, so we'll see exactly how much Adroit can get done here. Geek Fam, looking a bit stronger than draft. Raven on that Chaos Knight is going to be a bit of an issue for Adroit, and they're just pretty much set to just run and gun, right? They want to run down these lanes, they want to get an early start, they want to end this game fast. Adroit, they want to secure themselves that good start, but they do want to get some farm going, especially on Natsumi first. It does look that way, so we'll see who exactly does come on top in that laning phase and gets control. Because once if Geek Fam gets control, then it's going to be very easy for them to run over. They have very early power spikes. They can just take control of the game and run away from there. Adroit, they've got strong laners. They've got the Undying. He's really potent on lane, despite me really not liking the hero so far, as far as he goes right now. But if you play your cards right, you can really shut down the enemy cores.
If I may comment on the Sand last pick, by the way, John, that's a Sand into a Rubik. I'm kind of concerned a bit about that. Like, you're giving a Burn Strike away to Zephyr, who tends to steal these spells quite easily. I'm not sure about this from Adroit. I don't have much confidence in this draft.
Yeah, it's definitely harder to pull off for Adroit. I do favor Geek Fam as well. I think their draft is just much better lined up, much better planned out. And you've got Zephyr Rubik, as you mentioned. I mean, sure, Adroit has Bok Sand King, which is pretty darn good as well. Up against Rubik, though, it's just going to be that much harder for Adroit to find that opening they need.
Well, we'll find out how this is all going to pan out as the game is going to start. See how they're going to lane these as well. It looks like Natsumi is making a beeline straight to the off lane as the Drow, so perhaps running an aggressive off lane here from Adroit. Make enough sense. Just trying to shut down the Chaos Knight very early on. They'll send Mac mid on the laner, and they are going to send Bok down to the bot lane as the Sand King. He'll be by himself for a while, I'm sure. And everything else on the side of Geek Fam is fairly standard. I mean, Cuckoo's there on the Veno in the off with Zephyr. See, Ryoya on the Razor mid lane. And of course, we'll find Raven on the CK up there with his support Ogre being played by Dubu. Raven does have to be a little bit careful as there are 3 heroes around him right now, but he's just chilling out of the tree line.
Yes. Yes.
30 seconds to battle.
Adroit. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties. Nothing too special to start us off. Both teams just happy to get those bounties and go back into lane. Teams Adroit are pretty dead set on this tri-lane for a while at least. Natsumi will stick around up there. So they are going to really just try and focus on making sure Raven can't get any farm. And I feel like that is quite a smart decision to make. I wonder, how did Geek Fam really react to this? As they've currently got a tri-lane at the bot lane, but I don't think that's anywhere near as important as supporting Raven on the CK. Like, they'll bring the Ogre up now.
It's very hard for Raven to sustain his level 1 up against all these heroes. It's his weakest point as a hero.
Well, they're trying to go for a first blood straight off the bat. The bolt does connect. Raven just trying to make a run for it. He's pretty darn close to dying. CML needs one more decay, I believe, and he will find it. It'll be a very early first blood to the side of Adroit. Geek Fam, they tried to punish, but it was to no avail. I mean, with these tri-lanes, it'll be a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation, but versing an Undying in the tri-lane is not the easiest of tasks.
Yeah, this is honestly something I feel like is a bit of a mistake from Geek Fam. They still keep Raven up top, but they're forced to tri-lane versus tri-lane, which gives Undying a huge advantage. I feel like they'd be better off just throwing Cuckoo up top, giving him the harder time, and have Raven 1v1 the Sand King. It's still not easy for Raven, but it's something a bit more manageable, although Bok is having a hard time there.
Yeah, Cuckoo finds a kill to solo onto Bok. Not the greatest of news for the Sand King, dying this early onto the Venomancer. He's only at level 2 right now as well. Still, Geek Fam looking to go at it again with Adroit. CML gonna oblige. She's gonna be very happy to run into 3 heroes like this. More decay stacks to be taken. But Raven does not care. He wants to fight back. Problem is, he has 16 strength stacks right now. He's a very, very tanky Undying. Just not a very easy target whatsoever to try and go for. Of course, looking over to the mid lane while we have a chance, Mac will be there on the laner, going up against Ryoya. It does look like the lane is running very evenly right now. Ryoya finding himself slightly ahead by about 3 last hits. Overall, it is just very hard to contest the Razor in lane no matter what you're playing.
Yeah, it's always going to be rough, and the Razor just has ways of still finding farm. Plasma Field does a good enough amount of damage that you can really use that to secure your last hits quite safely. Although, up top, Dubu is in a spot of trouble. Looks like he should be able to run away, though.
He certainly is. He's trying to deny himself off, but Boomy was close. Not close enough. He'll get the deny off on the neutrals. Still Raven. He's been very focused on trying to help his team fight back. I feel like he's got to just try and focus on farm. I mean, just with all this strength stolen, he's doing no damage. CML continues stealing more. While all this is happening, Natsumi is just happily farming on the Drow. Not concerned whatsoever about what the rest are doing.
Not this time.
And Raven, I mean, it's a CK, right? It's one of those heroes that does require the farm early on to be effective. Once you get to the uber late game, he kind of starts to drop off a bit. You want to really start to snowball throughout the mid game if you can.
Yeah, you really just want to get up and running, get a good timing on your Midas if you're going for that, or on your Armlet, which we do tend to see, although I wouldn't be too surprised if a lot of CKs now fall back to the S and Y. I think there's a lot of value in that if you want to go for it. So you need one of those items real quick. I'd say by the 15-minute mark at the latest, and that's a pretty rough spot for it, even at that.
They're trying to fight back. Again, they always seem to be aiming the Undying, and CML is happy to take these hits. Just so darn tanky. They'll go after Dubu again on the Ogre, and yeah, he's just gone. There's no surviving that. And I mean, you mentioned it before. Why not switch Cuckoo over to the safe lane and just make him suffer? Give the Raven CK a bit more space. It seems like Geek Fam are just going to stick with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit too far into the lane now to really swap it out. It's going to be a massive issue for Raven, though. CK is not a flash farming hero. He just doesn't accelerate and farm that fast. So if you fall behind too far back, it's a struggle to play catch-up. That's just the nature of CK. That's his one great weakness. You need a Midas or you're going to go bust.
Money to burn.
I'll take your tribute.
You even try.
We're still trying. He's only found 12 last hits and 2 denies in this CK in comparison to the 20 and 11 of Natsumi. Of course, luckily for the side of Geek Fam, the Razor is still having a pretty darn good time in mid, but so is Mac. I mean, Mac has actually overtaken Ryoya now. So the only lane they're really winning on the side of Geek Fam is the off lane, where Cuckoo is beating out Bok. It's not even that hard, though. So I'm not sure how Geek Fam intends to catch up after this laning stage. They seem to have some kind of game plan because they're just keeping this lane up.
It's hard to tell. Really, mainly because we've seen a lot of teams try to force this out for the CK before. Now, they still hit a massive power spike once they have a couple of items. They don't want to be trailing too far behind. I think a lot of this game is now going to be riding off the back of Ryoya. He's got to pick up the pace on this Razor. You've got to see Cuckoo really step up in the plate with his Venomancer as well. He needs to buy that space as this game goes on. Or Raven to get bigger.
Again, you see CML copying some hits from Dubu, though they'll switch around, go after the Venge instead. It's a much easier target, and they will find Boomy. Now the Tombstone as well. Nice bit of gold going to Raven if he can find it, and he does. And now, well, they'll go after Natsumi. Why the hell not? They don't have the stun, though. So instead they run back towards CML. Again, he's just way too tanky to even try and take down. And to make matters worse, Mac is rotated up. He will find a support trade for the side of Adroit. It will end up being a 1-to-1.
Yeah, it's a really early rotation coming down from our mid, but it does pay off. You get one nice kill, you get yourself back in that mid lane, you don't really miss out on too much, and you're just going to be very happy with that. You keep slowing down Raven, you keep getting Natsumi that farm day one, although it's not a massive lead over this CK, but it still is a lead, especially in terms of denies. You really are starting to build up here on this draft.
Looks like Ryoya relegates himself to the jungle for a bit, though Bok will start creep skipping by himself in the Sand King, but there are rotations coming in. Cuckoo comes in with a Sentry Ward, and Bok, well, he goes for the TP play, and it looks like he probably will make it out. Just barely. One more right click probably would have done the job. Meanwhile, top lane though, Dubu will end up losing his life on the Ogre once again. That's going to make it a 4-2 now for the side of Adroit. They do have a 1k net worth lead at 8 minutes in.
Yeah, it's a nice little start for Adroit. They've got to maintain that momentum. It looks like they are setting up for a very early push onto this tier 1. So they're going to be able to get a good amount of damage down there, actually.
Raven actually gets very lucky with the item drop. The Ironwood Tree, great stats for him. Still though, this T1 tower, there's no saving it. Dubu's just trying to make it harder with the Bloodlust, but it's to no avail. It's definitely going down, and with that, they immediately rotate down bot, where we will see an epicenter being committed by Bok. It won't really lead to anything though, as it was way too slow to close the gap, but perhaps maybe they find Zephyr. Boomy, getting galed up. I guess at least Cuckoo is drawing a lot of attention away from the top lane, so it does buy Raven some space. Natsumi's still around though, but Raven does finally have a bit of space to try and farm up. The Cuckoo just seems to be that that annoying core that drags everyone into that bot lane, but they just can't kill him.
Yeah, I think that is going to pay off if they can maintain this presence from Cuckoo. As long as he doesn't drop this tower fairly quick, it's going to be paying off quite well. The issue with having Raven farm this far forward is the moment anyone TPs to gank the CK, Raven's just dead.
Well, it looks like he is going to be going for an armlet, so he does just want to go for the standard CK build, tank up, get a bit of extra damage. We'll have Ryoya there as well on the Razor. They're just going to go ahead and secure those bounties up top. And Adroit will do the exact same thing down at the bot lane. Both sides taking our post each. Pretty sad stuff. So you look at that that Lena, Mac has been farming very, very well. 4.4k net worth now on that Lena. Does get very close to a Yule Scepter already. She will have some nice timing on that. And it looks like we will actually see a bit of a smoke come out now from Adroit. Both supports smoked up. Where are they headed though? It looks like they may try for Ryoya on the Razor. Although no, they'll head up top. Raven is there. Can they find him? Magic Missile will connect, and now the Tombstone being dropped as well. Raven needs help desperately, but there's no tower to go to, so he is just gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, that's the issue when you lose your tier 1 that early on. You just have no safe space to farm up there.
Where else does he farm though?
Yeah, there's no good spot. And that's really the big issue here for Geek fam. From their laning phase, tossing Raven up there, it kind of cost them that early farm. They do have a really good start in Cuckoo though. this could pay off. I mean, he has BOTs up already. He's switched out to the jungle, is just trying to farm up further. But Raven's still stuck up here up top. He doesn't want to go down bot.
Well, I suppose he's just kind of playing the sacrificial position 1 right now. I mean, he's still finding farm. It's just going to be very, very slow. Get closer and closer to that armlet. Look at over to Natsumi though. 4.7k in comparison to the 3.9 of the CK. He will have the Dragonlance up pretty darn soon. Of course, you've got Ryoya, who's farmed very well on the Razor though. Got the drums up, going straight into that BKB next. He's going to need to start making work happen with his team very soon as well. I mean, he needs to create some space for the CK. Just seems like there's no real options apart from just taking the risky farm. That Cuckoo could be in a spot of bother right now as Natsumi will be there with Boomy up the top lane. Cuckoo is a bit of a harder target though. They haven't really been able to find him as of yet. It looks like this won't be the time either.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Boomy trying to close the gap on Cuckoo. Cuckoo will just continue to spam out some Venom wards. Very slow game from both sides so far, as neither side really wants to take any risks as of yet. It's both more than comfortable to keep farming up. I feel like that does kind of favor Geek fam though, right? Like not being aggressive towards the CK is just allowing to catch up.
Yeah, it does play out better for Raven overall. The issue is CK is one of those heroes that really farms best when he's farming heroes. So if you don't force out fights, you're not giving the CK the opportunity to farm those heroes.
Well, Mac will catch out Zephyr down at the bot lane, so there goes the Rubik. Nice little kill from him. Commit the Laguna for that. Actually opted to go for the BOTs first rather than the Yules. But he'll have those Yules up pretty soon anyway, and they will gain control of that outpost. Geek fam continue to just bide their time.
Is under attack.
Like Raven though, they finally smoke up. He's got his armlet on the way, but they're not even going to wait for it. They're just going to go straight for a smoke down bot. CML's not really the target they want to go for first, but they may not have a choice, and yeah, they'll just go for him straight away. There's the Reality Rift coming in, and CML is gone. Can they find Mac? They definitely can. They'll get the lift off, and Mac just melts. The reactions from the side of Adroit just weren't quick enough. In fact, they might find Bok as well. He burrow strikes north, but Zephyr finds him. They have the Rift, and they have the stuns. It's going to be 3 going down for the side of Adroit. And that was kind of what I was worried about for the side of Adroit, John. It just felt like they waited a bit too long to do anything.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one. Those fights were not how you'd expect it to go for Adroit. I mean, it's very well played from Geek fam. That does put them back in the game. Less than 1k lead for them now. 6-5 at 15 minutes in. They are in a pretty decent spot. They're going to be able to shove in this tier 1 as well. And suddenly Raven is going to be that much scarier. He has his armlet up. He still has his ultimate up. He's rushing hard. And if he can get a good timing in that heart, you'll have a very hard time dealing with a CK. His illusions are that much tankier as well.
Absolutely. Looks like Adroit have decided to start grouping up in that mid lane. Raven, just going to avoid any kind of fight for now. Get back to farming. Oh, Mac. He'll keep farming up himself as well. He's got that Yule's gold up. Just needs to buy the Voidstone now. was Bok trying to get towards his Blink Dagger on the Sand King. He really hasn't been able to do much as of yet, but once that blinks up, he should be a little more effective. Though interestingly enough, he does skip the Veil of Discord and does go for the Hood of Defiance instead. You would have assumed though that Veil would have really helped, especially with taking that those CK illusions out.
Yeah, it's not a choice I blame him for. I feel like there's a lot of value in just durability here. You are playing against a Venom, and that is a lot of damage that can stack up. So you get a lot more value in this game by just increasing your lifespan, and the Hood does allow you to do that. You can upgrade it later on as well. So I think that's a reasonable path for Bok to go for.
I suppose I have to agree, the pipe is going to be very valuable this game. But the Blink Dagger will come out on the Sand King. So perhaps now we may see a smoke come out from Adroit. Maybe feeling a lot more confident to try and go for a team fight. BKB though is going to be up on Ryoya. They'll get the tier 1 mid tower, but Geek Fam looking to punish. They will not be in range though to get any kind of lift. Instead they will smoke up and wrap around through the jungle, but the Bok does cancel that smoke straight away and will Burrow Strike out of there. That is rather unfortunate for Geek Fam, but they won't get anything out of that. They're still trying though. Dubu on the front line, just running by himself on the Yoga. Does he find anybody? He'll spot out Boomy with that Observer Ward. But Adroit are going to be aware of their presence behind that tree line.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It looks like they'll go for that mid tier 1. They still want to force a fight, but Bok jumps in with the double Burrow Strike. Now Static Link comes down the Sand King, but Dubu is already gone. Still, Boomy has lost his own life on the Venge now. An immediate buyback from Dubu on the Ogre.
Radiant's middle
Phantasm Illusions are ready to go. They'll get the tier 1, and it looks like Geek Fam will probably just back off after that.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, they've gotten the objective. They did find 1 kill as well. They did force a weird buyback. Dubu, I guess he just wanted to make sure that he was going to be there as needed still. They gain a lot of control for Geek Fam back, at least from taking out that tier 1 mid. Should allow them to roam a bit better inside that bot jungle.
Dubu gonna find CML. He does have help coming in. So dying, not as tanky as he was at the start. Cuckoo gets in there as well to slow him down with that Poison Sting, and now the Gale will connect. And that should be an easy kill on the Undying. Drow will turn around with the split shot. Won't really amount to anything though.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Both teams once again just going to evenly trade those bounty runes.
Gold is a great
1 outpost each. Looks like they're back to farming for now.
Yeah, just take it slow. Both sides do want to kind of build up a bit more. You do see a slight lead now for Adroit, less than 1k. But they are pretty much set up nicely. A lot of that gold is riding in.
Boomy getting swapped by Zephyr on the Rubik, and he just swaps back, but he gets swapped back again. Zephyr controlling him up, but he may lose his own life to the Lina. In fact, yeah, he does. It was just enough damage. So 1-for-1 trade on the supports. All the cores will back off. Some very hesitant play from either side. They're just finding a pick off and getting the hell out. No one really feeling overly confident to try and push anything any further. But while this is happening, you look at Raven. He's had a lot of time, John. He's got that Reaver up now. Very close to having the full heart up. And that has got to be a cause of concern for Adroit.
It definitely is, but overall, I feel like Geek Fam's farm still isn't as fast as you'd expect. This is something we've seen a lot of CKs go through as well. I mean, take a look at the positioning of Raven in the net worth graph. Like right now, he's at 4th position, which is not bad, but he's about 1k behind the Drow and 2k behind Max Lina. So he's doing okay. He did have a rough laning phase, it's still not amazing. Once this heart is up, he really has to maximize it and his Phantasm cooldown quite well. Try to force the fights every single time those spells are up, and just try to find as much as he can from kills.
We have another smoke coming out from Geek Fam. In fact, they have found Boomy on the Venge. Not the target they would have hoped for, but they'll have to just suffice with a support pickup. It looks like they'll go for more up at top lane. Raven found himself an Invis rune. Nobody's really going to be around to go after though. Or perhaps CML will move forward, but he drops a sentry. He'll have detection of the CK. And once again, Adroit, they're just going to back off to safety. No need to rush this for them. But I kind of wonder for Adroit, at what point do you feel the need to actually start going at Geek Fam once again? Because it feels like they've just been on the defense for a very long time.
They are slowly building up though. Like, I think they definitely are escalating a bit faster. You have the Ags up on Natsumi now as well. So outside of that multi-shot, you already have a split shot going on as well. And that could really wreak havoc on those illusions from Raven.
Well, it looks like that's exactly what they're waiting for. See how much it works out for them. They don't exactly have a Maelstrom or something like that to get those extra procs off. They'll just get in the vision down. They spotted out Dubu on the Ogre. Raven gonna run into vision, and now the smoke breaks. He just wants to get out of there, but he gets the Phantasm off. Burrow Strike immediately after, but they force-staff him out, and now Cuckoo gets the poison over, but the epicenter is massive. Raven somehow still alive throughout all this, but it shouldn't last too much longer though. No, Zephyr swaps him out. Still the zombies will chase him down and take him down. The Burrow Strike there on Zephyr as well. They just control the side of Geek Fam. And Cuckoo is left over with Ryoya. They'll clean up Boomy at the very least. But it looks like Cuckoo may end up losing his life to the Drow, and does. And now Ryoya will be the 5th one. A full team wipe coming out for Adroit. And it was just superior vision and superior team fight from Adroit. They just won it up fairly easily.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened there with the CK. He phantasms up, it doesn't matter. Even with that Reaver out, it doesn't matter. The damage from Natsumi right now is way too high. Right? He can just deal with him. It doesn't matter. And that's really the issue I have with the CK. When you're not too far behind right now, but you're behind enough for it to matter, and your impact just isn't that great in these fights. Look, Phantasm's down for 1:10 now. So he's just going to be farming for that time, and that's a lot of time where Adroit could just get a push out, force an unfavorable fight for Geek Fam, and do so much more in the map. It's just a very weird tempo with this hero.
Oh, Adroit gonna start going through the bot lane. Feeling much more confident now. And of course, Natsumi can take those T1s very, very quickly, just out of range. That's exactly what he does. So that'll be the 3rd T1 tower from Adroit being taken. Bok now actually giving tips over to Mac. We do have the blink dagger out on Zephyr though, so you do have a bit more mobility now on the Rubik. Seems to be very important that he gets those Burrow Strikes and sends it back the way of Adroit. Try and control the team fight from your end of things. We have a repair kit coming out for Mac. Nope, start hitting up those towers, Mac. In fact, he gave it away.
Ryoya gets a drop as well, and Raven does have his heart up. So that main item is up now. Let's see how much it does impact these fights. It's going to have really tanky illusions at the forefront now.
are scanning.
Oh, he's casually just sitting there at 3.7k. Nothing wrong here. Still though, is it going to be enough? Adroit, they may just go sneak a Roshan, and that's exactly what they start doing. Natsumi again takes the Roshan very, very quickly, especially thanks to marksmanship. And he has the full BKB up now, as well as that Orb of Destruction. This Roshan is just completely melting.
Yeah, no contestation coming out from Geek Fam as well. So that's just a free take for Adroit, and they slowly build up their lead. 5k advantage now at 27 minutes in, 14 to 11 on the kill board. And it's just looking rough for Geek Fam. Look, their lineup really comes online early on with all the heroes they have. You have Ryoyo, who's really big now. BKB, AC up, and we just haven't seen him do as much as you'd expect with this kind of start. They are behind in net worth now. They are losing towers now. They're not even going for the defense. And Natsumi just eats all of these objectives like it's a buffet.
Oh, Adroit gonna remain at the buffet. They haven't had enough yet. Just farming up the dire side jungle. Geek Fam just continuing to farm up, trying to get some core items up. You see the AC there on Ryoyo. Cuckoo manages to find a Paladin sword. Doesn't seem too broken, that item. But they will give it over to Raven. 17% life still never really hurts.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Still Adroit, continue moving forward. Another tier 2 gonna go down for free.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
There will be no defense from Geek Fam. And look how far Natsumi's attacking from.
Dire's middle tower
Yeah,
has
that's
fallen.
really down to Boomy's aura. Just so much more attack range, 150.
Invisibility.
It's dumb, and the Hurricane Pike's there as well, so the attack range is just really high.
Radiant are scanning.
Perfectly balanced, Mike.
It certainly is.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So the biggest thing on my mind now is, when is Geek Fam ready to fight? They are at the deficit. We're at 30 minutes in. Arguably when their heroes start to taper off. The BKB is already up for the Drow, so you already lose a lot of value from Cuckoo, whose main damage is all magical. So at what point is Geek Fam going to be comfy? Because they're playing a farm game against a Drow, who already has the Ags, had the Ags way early, can really just accelerate and farm. Alina, who can clear waves and camps much faster than any of your heroes can, except maybe the Venomancer. And I just don't see them escalating in terms of a farm game right now, so they've got to have a game plan in mind. Maybe they just want to catch Adroit by surprise. We have seen this a couple of times where the more impatient team tends to lose out. So perhaps Geek Fam's just waiting for a misstep here from Adroit. They are clumped up in one area. They know where the enemy team is.
Well, Cuckoo will start scouting out with the wards. Adroit holding their ground for now, not really backing off too far. Both teams just kind of staring each other down, not really committing to anything. While all that's happening though, bounty runes are going to the way of Adroit as Boomy does collect both up at the top lane and of course does secure the outpost. So Adroit are holding on to both outposts as well. They do secure a 7k net worth lead at the 30-minute mark. I suppose at this point we'll have a look at the win probability, and it is 84% the way of Adroit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame the game. I don't blame the AI for that. It's just, it's 31 minutes in. It's a 7k lead for Adroit. We haven't seen Geek Fam apply that pressure with all these big item pickups that they went through. I mean, her last engagement was quite a while back now. And since Raven got the heart, he's fought, what, like once? It's just, if he was going to farm this much, you don't buy a heart. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you were going to farm, you would go something else entirely. But instead, he buys a heart, second item, and farms. It's just not very efficient. You should be farming heroes.
Well, Natsumi now knocking on the tier 3 tower's door. He's just going to hit from a mile away. Natsumi the sniper.
Oh,
tier 3
God,
tower
that's
just It is disgusting, John, although they force staffing forward, but there's no follow-up to that. You know, at that distance, the arrows should really start dropping off a bit. It's quite a...
It's a long go. It's a long go.
It's
Just
a
like
long
the
one,
Twitch.
fair enough. Thank you for that, John.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower
He's perfectly
has
fine. She's perfectly fine. And that's a tier 3, just like that. Right clicks from a million miles away. No defense. There is a smoke.
fallen. Shrine is
But they're on the
under
low
attack.
ground.
Certainly are.
The tower is under
They're looping around Geek. Then what's the idea here? They start initiating, but it's Dubu almost losing his life already. They go into the back. They'll find Boomy on the Venge. Now CML will be the target. Epicenter, meanwhile, going straight onto Dubu, but he's just controlling up the Sand King. Still Raven trying to go after CML. Meanwhile, down on the river, Max still going after Dubu on this Ogre. He's just running around the tree.
Oh.
They will finally take him out. Bok now just not wanting to be a part of this as Adroit are losing this team fight. It'll be a 3-for-1 trade so far. Mac will BKB up and just run away. But they pop the drums. They're not done with him yet. They do slow him down with the plasma field. Ryoya, they really want to punish, but he Shadow Blades up. Still, they have the dust, but Mac is still just running. He'll Hurricane Pike and he'll be safe.
Natsumi's stuck. He's actually stuck. He forced staff up. He didn't break the trees. Oh, that sucks. His TP's on cooldown as well.
Well, Mac can go break the trees, but Mac's just waiting it out, it seems.
Finally, there you go.
What are
Oh.
you doing in there, Natsumi? Get the hell out of there. Stop playing games.
See, that was a bit scary for Adroit, right? Geek fam, it was a wonky initiation, but the key thing was that Ryoya got next to the drow, got the static link off, and for some reason Natsumi could not break that link. So, as long as you get that happening, Natsumi just doesn't do damage. Natsumi's not a hero. Drow is not a hero in that case, and that's how Geek fam would win. They need to keep getting that happen. I think with this Blink Dagger pickup on Ryoya, they can definitely take a lot of these fights. They just have to make sure they get the right targets. Natsumi every single time, paired up with Ryoya, and just drain that damage away. Suddenly Adroit's not going to be very confident in these fights.
Geek fam, are they going to make any plays? I mean, we see another smoke coming out from Adroit now.
Dire's top shrine has fallen.
And they are going to find Ryoya of all people. Magic Missile is there, and he may just be dead.
Ooh, ouch.
He did not react with the BKB for the Magic Missile.
Such as tomorrow.
With that, he does lose his life. Of course, he does have buyback. But with that death, they may just try and force that buyback out early on. And why not take an outpost while you're down at the bot lane?
Yeah, just gives you so much more to work with. And, you know, right now, it's slow build-up for Adroit. Like, Geek fam, there are signs of life there. They can't afford to lose Ryoya of all heroes like that. Like, you could lose anyone else. Even Raven, I think, is arguable that he isn't as important as the Razor at this point. So you can lose any of those heroes like that, but just not Ryoya. When you lose your Razor, he's the key part of slowing down this Drow. He's the key part to really disrupting these team fights.
Money to burn.
You've got to watch out. You can't afford to overextend like that on Geek fam's side.
Illusion.
Raven is now sitting at 4.6k HP on the CK. Going for what looks like a Blink Dagger into an MKB. Adroit will just maintain this this dire side jungle. Adroit will get started. Oh, that's a big burrow strike. Straight onto Rubik. They burst down Zephyr. Raven trying to find a trade, but Natsumi's ripping them apart right now. He gets a distance. Ryoya trying to static link, but Natsumi may not care. CML in the middle of all this as well. Natsumi still fighting back. They'll find the Ryoya Razor, and with that, it looks like they will find the Raven CK. This Drow is just hitting so hard.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous just how far they can get, and just a fight like that, all those items that you built up on Raven just gone. You saw Ryoyo try to do the right thing there. He did link up Natsumi, but it was just too late. It just wasn't enough at that point.
Oh, Natsumi, come on, stand back a bit further. That's better.
God, that's balanced.
I love some
Wow.
balance in the morning, John.
Oh god.
There's the
Imagine if
ranks
that was
gone.
actually Sniper. Like, Sniper with a longbow, you know, that neutral drop that gives range, and...
Don't give them
Okay.
any ideas, John. Don't give
but
them
can
any
you imagine
ideas.
just how bad that is? Like, Jesus. That's 2 racks. Just
It
like
is.
that.
Well, there's no buybacks coming out from Geek Fam. They just hold on to them. And with
this
that,
is another big issue. This is a big issue with a CK, right? Even if you've bought back there, he doesn't have Phantasm. So he really just doesn't do as much as you'd want, which is why, again, CK is such a tempo-based hero because of that ultimate. And Geek Fam just didn't play to that strength earlier on. I think the moment when they picked up the heart, that's when you wanted to see Geek Fam really kick it up. They just decided to play a farm game. Look, they've still got ways to come back in. They know the rush is happening. It's just dead.
oh, and Mac will have a bit of disconnection. FPS drop. Oh, God forbid. The Roshan, you've got a million things happening in this pit. No wonder.
I mean, I'm looking at Lena in what do you call that, showcase view. That's a lot of particles on that LSA.
Oh
So
my.
I that could drop the FPS.
Yeah, right.
I'm sitting at 60 though. I'm sitting at stable VSync 60, so I have no issues.
No need to show off, John. We all know you got a new PC recently. Well done.
Gotta feel good about myself sometimes, Mike. I don't have anything else going on for me.
No, you don't, John.
Oh god.
Adroit, they're starting to set up that top lane. And it's still just a wonder as to how Geek Fam's going to stop this final push coming in. There's the blink coming out, but that leaves Raven with no buyback gold, John. We've seen this a bit before. It's I mean, I guess they have no other option because it's not like Raven can do anything without the blink. So they're going to try and go in with a smoke. This could be the final attempt coming out from Geek Fam. They want to jump the Drow first, though. That's the main target. They have gotten started on the tier 3, and Dubu has been caught out on the Ogre. Raven will jump in onto Bok, but he's still alive and gets swapped out to safety. Now it's a 4v5 situation. Ryoya has jumped in by himself. Zephyr will swap him out, but that's his life gone. Zephyr taking one for the team, saving the Razor with about 70 HP. But it means nothing if you can't protect this final lane of racks.
I mean, they've stolen 197 on the Razor. It's still not enough to slow down Natsumi.
No, absolutely not. There you go,
That's it.
GG's been called. Ryoyo jumps in for one more celebration death. And that is exactly what he will get from Natsumi. Or perhaps he will survive this time. But no, I was a bit too positive about that. Still, 25-14, Adroit pull off game number 1. That is definitely not the kind of game Geek Fam were hoping for. Of course, we will go into game number 2 very, very soon. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We'll see you all again very, very soon for that secondary game.